welcome back to the channel. My name's Brownie and I'm one half of the Indecisive Readers. Today I'm going to try and do both my TBR and my monthly wrap up in this video, but we'll see how long it goes and whether or not we just, split it up. I'm going to start with my TBR first because it's the 31st, so I've not actually finished this month yet. First on my list is One for All by Lily Laneoff. This is a feminist disabled retelling of the Three Musketeers, I think. It comes out on the 7th of February and I have a review due on the 10th of February, so this is going to be my priority to make sure I get it read in time. Then we have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by, I don't actually know who it's by, which I started last month but only read like 30 pages of. I'm really interested in reading this. It feels like right up my street and everyone's talking about it at the moment, so I'm very looking forward to finishing reading this if I get the chance. Then I'm going to read hopefully Le Morte d'Arthur by Sir Thomas Malory. There are two Arthurian retellings that I have arcs of that come out I think in April and then June, and I really enjoy, it seems, Arthurian retellings, so I feel like I want to kind of read some of the backstory. I'm probably going to get an audiobook just because like the writing's so small and I don't want to read all of this. And the audiobooks are about 24 hours, so I think I'm going to do that. Mostly also because I just seem to be reading a lot of audiobooks at the moment. Speaking of audiobooks, my next books are probably going to be ones I will listen to as audiobooks. The first is Gideon the Knight. Sam really enjoyed this last year. I really wanted to read it, and I think Sam will like having the audiobook, so I think I might steal the audiobook for him, using one of his credits, and then just like listen to it first. This is like lesbian necromancers in space, I think. Intrigued, and it's one of the books I'm meant to be reading in 2023. Another book I want to read in 2023 is a reread of From Blood and Ash. I have this, and I also somehow because I brought them, ended up with the Illumicrate editions as well, and I don't actually know whether I want them. So I'm going to try and reread them. I've got the audiobook, and if I don't like them, I'm probably going to unhaul them, because although they're really pretty and I love them, I don't love them, I think, enough to definitely have two copies. But I'm not sure if I love them enough to be taking up space in my room when I don't have enough room for the books I like. The final two for my TBR in February are A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. I've been reading this on and off since probably October, but it comes out this month on the 28th, so this is going to be my priority once I've finished with One for All. And then I'm also hoping to read A Witch's Guide to Fate Dating a Demon, which comes out I think on the 9th of March, so I would like to kind of get ahead of that so I can have a review out on time for it. So now on to my kind of wrap up for January. So I hope I'm going to finish the final book today, maybe. I've just realised that is today and I only started it tomorrow. I'm not sure. But anyway, if I read the final book today or tomorrow, I'm going to count it, I will have read 7 books this month. 6 of those will have been audiobooks. I read Influential as a physical book, and then I've been reading the arc of A Day of Fallen Night, which is obviously chunky, on my ebook, so I've just been kind of dipping in and out of that, so I haven't got very far with it. So these are my star ratings for January. I enjoyed all of the books I read. Some of them were 3 stars, some I enjoyed a lot more than I was expecting to, so I had a really good reading month and I'm pleased with all the books I read. So the first book I read was The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon. This came out in the Fairy Loot box last year, and it's meant to be kind of fantasy rom-com, and it did really feel like that. It felt like a romance book but in a fantasy setting, which I thought was really fun. I liked that it was a proper romance, like they got time to romance each other, they got time to have feelings, but also that was a really interesting fantasy world, like undertakers and kind of people with, they're not like demons and they're not like zombies, but it was a really interesting concept. I liked the 2 characters. I liked how they had like their pen powerness, and yeah, it was just actually a really good book to start the year on. I'm so pleased I read it, and it's just a stunning edition. I also, for like The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, took the best picture, my favourite picture ever, and I'm so chuffed with it, so I might just stick it up there as well so you can see. The next book I read was Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas. This is the second book in the Throne of Glass series. And I didn't love this actually. I rated it 3 stars and I listened to the audiobook, and I really like listening to audiobooks because even if I'm like doing something that I can like turn my brain off at, I'll listen to an audiobook. And then even if I'm doing stuff around the house, like doing the hoovering and the washing out, I'll listen to an audiobook. But I didn't want to pick this one up, which makes me think I didn't enjoy it. And like when I listened, it was fine, but that was kind of only ever it. I didn't feel amazed by it, I wasn't blown away, and yeah, I think had I not got the audiobooks, I may not have like continued with the series, but because I've got the audiobooks already, I'll probably like try and read on even if I don't finish the series, or if I finish the series but just like But yeah, I think because I've been in like the book world, like the big surprise at the end of this wasn't a big surprise, so maybe that kind of, you know, soured my enjoyment, but can't win them all. The next book I read was actually a reread of Bloodmark by Tracy Deonn. I loved this book in November when I first read it, like I read it as soon as it came out, but I can't remember anything that happened because I wanted to read it so quickly because it was coming out. I was excited, and then just so much happened. I didn't write a review straight away, and I was like, I can't actually remember what happened in it because so much happened in it. So I reread it, was like, oh my god, I forgot about that, or that character was great. And so I had a great time reading it again. It was obviously 5 stars again, and I'm so angry for Brie. I'm so angry about everything she has to deal with like just people, but there are certain people that she should trust that don't do nice things to her, or do nice things but in a bad way, and this series just really hurts. So I would recommend 10 out of 10. The next book I read was Influential by Amara Sage. This is amazing. Like, this is what I love about YA fiction. It was like powerful, it was telling a story that maybe some authors or some parents might be scared to tell their kids, but it's basically like, what if a person grew up in the influencer lifestyle and hated it because their mum started vlogging before they were even born? And I also really want to give Almond a hug. She deserved a friendship group, and she got a friendship group by the end, and it was just, it was so good. It was so powerful. It was one of those books where you want to just like cover it in highlights and tab it. It's really interesting because Almond isn't white, but she's not like really brown as well. And so like she's got all those people being like, oh my god, you're so lucky, you're naturally tanned, you don't have to do all this fake tanning, and you just want to punch them. And then I got really stressed for her because like stuff happens at the end, and I just was really sorry for her. Then I read The Lost Fleet by Jack Campbell. I was really surprised by this. I didn't expect to love it because Sam was just like, well, you should read this. Whenever you ask me what I'm reading and I say dumb sci-fi, this is it. And actually I enjoyed it a lot more. What I was saying about the Throne of Glass audiobook where I didn't want to pick it up, I did want to pick this up. And I thought it was a really interesting premise. It's like, what if someone died and became a martyr, but then came back to life and came back 100 years later, and everyone was like, wow, you're amazing, you're a legend, and actually they're like, oh, am I really? And so I thought that was really good. I rated it about 3.5 stars because I didn't love it, but I did really enjoy it. So yeah, was happily pleased with this. Then I read The House with the Golden Door. This is the sequel to The Wolf Den, which I liked but didn't love. I loved the kind of idea of it, but because of, you know, the concept that they're in a brothel, it was very much about sex, and I don't really love books that are very much about sex, so it just made me a bit awkward. And we had less of that in this, and we got more of the interesting characters, but I don't know, I still really enjoy it. And again, I think it's about 3 stars, 3.5 stars. I can't put my finger on why I don't love it, because there were some really interesting things in it. I really liked some of the decisions Amara makes, but other ones really frustrated me. So I find it really difficult to review because I love the idea of it, and I love the setting, and I like the characters. I think it's really powerful, but yeah, I think it's just one of those books I don't love. Anyway, it's a couple of days later, and I've just realised I forgot to film my final review of the month, which I did finish the book within February, just about. And the book I finished the month with, January, is After Love by Tanya Byrne. I really enjoyed this. It's weird to say it was a happy book because it's about death, but it was maybe a hopeful book. It was a really interesting book because the premise, the final person to die that year becomes a reaper, was so interesting, very unusual. And in some ways it was bittersweet because there was no way this could end happily, but I really did enjoy it. I had a nice time of it. I wish that maybe Ash had had more grieving time because it felt like she grieved for the life she wanted to live rather than the one she knew she would. Like, she grieved for the girlfriend she'd only had for a few months rather than the family she knew she would always have, if that makes sense. So I mean, it was still really good. I really enjoyed it, but yeah, 4 stars. I also thought I'd include like a little mini, not mini, book haul in this because then I might hold myself accountable if you lot can all see how many books I'm receiving and judge me. I didn't actively buy any this month, but, well, I mean, I've had some Fairy Loot / Illumicrate pre-orders and I've had their boxes turn up, and then I've like requested 2, 3 arcs, so you know, maybe it is my fault, all of these books. But anyway, we'll start with the arcs. So the first one I received, I have already mentioned, is One for All by Lily Laneoff. Comes out on the 7th of February and I'm reading for the 10th of February. Then I got the 2 Arthurian legends that I have also mentioned. The first is The Cleaving by Juliet E. McKenna. This is from Angry Robot Books and it comes out on the 4th of April. It's really pretty, I like it. And then the other one I got was Morgan Is My Name by Sophie Keach. It came in this really pretty PR package and this is what the cover looks like. So before I read both of those, I do want to read some original text. So I know some more context than I currently do. Not really sure how to approach the next ones because I have had a few. I haven't like unpacked them because I don't want to put them somewhere and then get battered, so at the moment they're still in the box until I have somewhere nice to put them. But I'll show you through the thing and then I suppose it'll be less spoilery. The first one, well, I suppose it's a series, so it's all 3 of them, but I got the archive box of Girls of Paper and Fire from Natasha Yang and then from Illumicrate. So first we've got Girls of Paper and Fire. I really want to reread these because I really like these, and also I do have like some special editions of the other ones, so I might focus. Then we have Girls of Storm and Shadow, and finally we have Girls of Fate and Fury. These are all like sapphic fantasy. Then also from Illumicrate we have The Restless Truth by Freya Marks. This is the sequel to a book that came out from Illumicrate, and I've heard really good things about. I think this one's sapphic Edwardian. I don't know if it's fantasy, but sapphic Edwardianness. Then we have the Fairy Loot ones. The first one I have is the pre-order of Heart of the Sun Warrior by Sulin Tan. This is the sequel to Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which I really like. So nice, so colourful and interesting yellow sprayed edges. Then other pre-orders from Fairy Loot I have Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen. They look like that together, which I think is just fabulous. And I really liked pirates when I was younger, so all up for some adult YA something fantasy books, because I never found any piratey books when I was younger, which really upset me, so very high hopes for these. Then we have Cruel Illusions. I think this is vampires in a circus, and I don't really like vampire books, so I'm probably going to unhaul this. Then we have The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. Not really sure what this is about, but I do remember having read the blurb when this arrived and thinking, oh, that sounds really interesting. The cover's quite pretty, but I love the sprayed edges, like the person and the flowers. Very clever. I didn't realise it was like on the cover too, or maybe just didn't see them until, you know, it turned up. And then finally the January Fairy Loot Young Adult box turned up as I was about to film this. So I've not actually opened it yet, so I'm going to open it now. I can't really remember what the theme is, but maybe I'll remember what the book is once it's opened. I'm a big fan of this. And then this is doing me great. Look at this, embarrassing myself on camera. I've been back for 2 weeks, Bryony. I wasn't going to do these, but we're here. So the book, oh, I remember. Oh, that makes sense. The book is Spice Road by Maya Ibrahim, and it looks like this on the front. I'm going to take this off because I just look stupid. It looks like this on the front. I think it's like inverted. I think usually it's orange and then green maybe, and then down the edges it's that, which is really cool. Like it's that kind of repeated. Very nice, very sparkly. Then they've gone all out for this. They've not done this in a while, I don't think. Under the dust jacket it looks like that, proper foiling. Lovely. What are these called? End papers. Those two. And them again. Are they the same people? Yeah, they are. I think they've just got undressed. Although he's got longer hair, so maybe they're not. And then proper like dust jacket with one guy again. Very nice. Very much looking forward to reading that, because I was looking at like getting an arc through NetGalley and I just didn't get around to it, so very excited to now have a copy to read. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below to let me know you're here, subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in another video.